This guy groggily wakes up, his ears ringing from someone calling his name over and over. Before Lucian could even process what the hell was going on, the teacher up front was already chewing him out. His classmates turned around, snickering at how dazed and confused he looked. "Lucian, you've been sleeping all day." The teacher was completely fed up with Lucian's attitude toward his studies. With the unified exam only 200 days away, Lucian just came to class every day to sleep like a little piglet, and it finally pushed the teacher over the edge. The more he scolded, the more fired up he got, even striking a dramatic pose. He warned Lucian that with this attitude, after graduation, he wouldn't even be able to get a job hauling bricks. The teacher tested him further, asking if Lucian even knew the minimum blood essence standard for a cement worker. He expected Lucian to be clueless, but to his surprise, the boy sheepishly answered correctly, 0.8. Hearing this, the teacher got even angrier and asked if he had even met that standard. His classmates jumped in to mock Lucian. They jeered that his blood essence level was barely 0.7 at best. Besides sleeping, what the hell else was he good for? The teacher shook his head and sighed, lamenting the boy's total lack of ambition. As soon as class was dismissed, his friend Leo Kai ran over to Lucian's desk with a grin. This guy was one of the few friends Lucian had. Lucian tiredly nodded. He closed his eyes and thought about the scenes that had appeared in his dream. It was all a desolate wasteland of ruins, with no one else in sight, surrounded by strange and bizarre monsters. He complained to Leo Kai, telling him not to bring it up. The nightly nightmares were taking a huge toll on his spirit, even causing his blood essence level to drop by 0.02. He had to take a ton of supplements and train diligently just to recover a little, but he still couldn't avoid the teacher's daily scolding. Leo Kai didn't really care about all that blood essence stuff. He told Lucian not to worry about what the old teacher said. Just accept being an ordinary person and leave the world-saving hero stuff to the geniuses. He thought his words of comfort would be a ray of hope, but they ended up sounding like a death sentence. After his speech, Leo Kai tried to drag Lucian to the internet cafe like usual, but today, Lucian wasn't in the mood for anything. He just wanted to go home and turned down Leo's invitation. Leo Kai was shocked by the refusal, since the two of them were usually joined at the hip. He even generously offered to pay for all the gaming time and drinks, but Lucian just shook his head stubbornly. Leo Kai wanted to keep trying to convince him, but his other friends called him over. In the end, they agreed to hang out another time. He said goodbye to Lucian and ran off to join his buddies. On the way home, Lucian's mind was still in turmoil, constantly replaying the nightmares from the past few days. He couldn't believe that even after being transported to a new world, he still had to worry about exams. Lucian groaned at the thought of subjects like math, physics, and chemistry, and having to keep up with current events. It was clear this new world wasn't all that different from his previous one. Lost in thought, he was suddenly yelled at by a passerby for standing in the middle of the road when there was plenty of space elsewhere. The pedestrian who yelled at him was carrying an impossibly heavy stack of goods on his head. Lucian looked on in awe. He thought to himself, when will I ever be that strong? The body he had transmigrated into was as weak as crap. Over 300 years ago, this world underwent a massive change. Giant cracks appeared in the sky and on the ground, and from within emerged hideous monsters that altered the course of the world. At that time, thermal weapons became ineffective, but humans suddenly awakened a new power. A gene lock within the human body was broken. Physical strength could now easily break through to unimaginable heights. And so, humanity entered the age of the martial path. But even so, in the war for survival against the monsters, humanity was still at a great disadvantage. It seemed like every day another city fell, and humanity suffered continuous defeats. Facing such dire circumstances, the principal stood before the entire school to address the students. You were born in a turbulent era, and you must bear the responsibility of this age. You are practicing the martial path for the advancement of humanity, and each of you is a blade of that path. Lucian leaned against the locker, panting heavily. He had gone through his physical training routine 3 times in a row, yet his blood essence level hadn't changed at all. In contrast, his younger sister's blood essence had quickly reached 0.9, while he couldn't even recover the small amount he'd lost due to his nightmares. Lucian's heart ached thinking about how his parents had worked so hard to save money for his supplements. Heaven had even given him a second chance by transmigrating him to this martial world. Was he really going to let things continue this poorly? He muttered to himself, deciding to try even harder. If 3 times had no effect, then he would do it a 4th, a 5th, a 6th time. Suddenly, his vision blurred, and everything went black. When he opened his eyes again, he found himself transported to yet another world. The scene here was horrifyingly desolate, with bodies strewn everywhere. An oblivious Lucian pinched his own cheek a few times, but couldn't wake up. He sat there, taking everything in, completely unaware that a monster had crept up behind him, baring its fangs. The dark figure behind him launched its attack, pouncing on Lucian. Fortunately, Lucian was no longer the clueless kid from before and managed to block the monster just in time. Otherwise, he would have lost his first kiss to this ugly creature. Only now did he get a clear look at the dark figure's face. It was a zombie. Seeing its sharp teeth about to bite his ass, he couldn't help but panic. Damn it, I've been running from this thing for so many nights, and now it's finally caught me. The zombie lunged forward to plant a kiss on Lucian, but being quick-witted and handsome, he dodged to the side, and the zombie's kiss met the dirt. Lucian gritted his teeth and told it not to underestimate him. Even though his combat class scores were terrible and his blood essence was only 0.7, which made him trash in the eyes of others, he was still considered a half-practitioner of the martial path. With that, he kicked the zombie straight in the chest, sending a sharp pain through its heart as if 1,000 blades had struck it. After being kicked, the zombie tumbled backward onto the ground. Before it could even get up, Lucian had already picked up a massive rock. He then rushed over to the zombie and gave it a free ticket for a facial reconstruction. After a few loud thuds, the female zombie lay motionless. Lucian sat down, panting as the fight had taken a lot out of him. Standing over the zombie's body, Lucian spoke. Phew, that should do it. A zombie's weak point must be its head. Suddenly, strange black particles started floating out of the zombie's body and were absorbed into Lucian, leaving him bewildered. What the hell is this? More and more of the strange substance clung to him as Lucian cried out in vain. In his mind, unfamiliar memories began to surface. A conversation between 2 men appeared. One spoke of his dream to join the Defense Corps base. The other man replied that the training there was incredibly tough. Moreover, it was extremely dangerous, but the determined man was not deterred by the challenges. Then came images of grueling training sessions. And there were also memories of the great upheaval, when hordes of monsters attacked humanity and grotesque creatures were everywhere. Lucian realized these were the memories of the zombie he had just defeated, but he didn't understand why killing it would grant him its memories. His body began to undergo strange changes, his limbs shaking uncontrollably. While he was in this state of confusion, another zombie appeared out of nowhere and charged at him. But strangely, Lucian had become incomprehensibly stronger. He easily took down the zombie with just a few punches. Compared to Lucian's strength now, the Hulk was nothing more than a name. The pitiful zombie fell to the ground, and only then did Lucian snap back to his senses. The strange black substance once again enveloped him, and he could feel a surging power coursing through his body. With years of experience reading manhwa, Lucian vaguely understood that whenever he killed a zombie here, he not only gained its memories, but also its strength. Lucian looked at his hands, finding it all too hard to believe. With just a few punches, he could absorb a lifetime of someone else's experience.